Hi there. Not sure how long it's been since I did my video because time's a bit screwed up for me at the moment. Just wanted to do an update. Anyway, I'm still trying to. Sorry, I keep knocking the thing. Keep anyone who's still watching up to date. Today is October the 18th. I say the date because I'm not sure what day I post these. Monday, was just gone, the 15th, was a month since I gave birth, lost, whatever you want to call it. I did give birth, so yeah, it's my little Bailey. And we had his funeral last Friday, October 12th, 2012. The hardest, one of the hardest, was the day he was born, and the day we had the scan told us he was dead, were hard days. The build up to it, I'll start from there. Last Thursday, the day before the funeral, the wonderful funeral director that I employed gave us a free run of their, Chapel of Rest. So I was able to, spend a good few hours with Bailey. So I started off in the morning, myself, hubby, and our middle son. Dan went to see him. Dan really wanted to, and it seemed the right thing for him. We went in. He was in his little casket in the little chapel of rest with the candles and the cross and flowers and stuff, done beautifully. And hubby, sort of tried to unwrap him to find him in the sheet that I'd given them, put in the casket, or bed. I keep calling it his bed. And he had changed. Nobody warns you. I'm sorry. I apologise straight away if it's too much information. And I will put that as the warning on the title. No one warns you. I mean, it had been 4 weeks, near enough 4 weeks, between giving birth to him and seeing him again. And I expect him to have changed. I'm not totally stupid. I knew 4 weeks out of the body he was going to change, even if he'd been kept in whatever sort of storage they keep babies. But I think the only difference I expected, if I'm honest, was that his colour would change. I expected him to be darker coloured. Only because the whole day, he was born at 9:24 in the morning on 15th of September, and all that day the amazing midwife we had, kept saying, "I can't believe how well he's keeping his colour. He's been out of your body X amount of hours, and he's still light red. He's not dark." All day she kept saying this. So obviously, I knew that was a change, physical change that would happen to him. And I had tried to take into account. I thought I had. That he'd been through a post-mortem, and the week after he'd been born. It took them 2 weeks to return him to the hospital, and I had been scared what I would see because of this, because he's so little as well. And I didn't see. I mean, with my mum, I noticed stitches and things when I went and saw her in the Chapel of Rest. But she's a full-grown adult body, different. And we'd asked them to put Bailey's organs back. I'd refused to let them take any organs, to hold on to and test or any of that. I said, do whatever tests you can do, but I want everything returned with the body. And that's the lovely paperweight they thrust in your face before you've even given birth, by the way. And so what I did see, I believe in my first video I did give a flash of the photo of him when he was born. That's not how he looked. And I want to share this. I haven't got a picture to share. Well, I have, and I'm not sharing it. But I wanted to forewarn anyone else who's going through this awful thing, some idea of what to expect, because I wish someone had warned me. He was slightly darker, not much darker in colour, I must admit. Seemed smaller, and I hate and describe this. He was flat. He was pretty much flat. But, when he was born, again, if you've seen the picture, he had a rounded head. Just was round. And that's not how he was in his little bed. He dried out somewhat. Not as much as I thought he would, but his skin was drier. His little legs had sort of shriveled a little bit. So had his arms. I mean, they were skinny little things anyway, bless him, when he was born, but they'd shriveled a bit more, which I was gutted about, because at the hospital for some reason. I hadn't thought to take a photo of his feet, his hands or feet. Didn't get any prints off them because they were so small. Hospital didn't do that. And he'd been also neatly bundled up, I think, at the hospital. I hadn't wanted to unwrap him. So I took those photos. Unfortunately, the only ones I could get are after the post-mortem, so they're not nice. But I have them. If I ever need to look at them, I have them. There's no chance I was ever going to get again to have them, so I took those. So that was quite shocking. And hubby and I have talked about this many times in the past week. It's a week today since I saw him. And I know I can't. I can't win in any of this situation, but I know if I hadn't seen him, if I'd given up that chance, knowing that I could and didn't, I'd be sitting here saying I really regret not seeing him. I could have seen him one more time. I wouldn't have cared what he looked like, all this sort of stuff. And I do still, feel like I would have felt that. But I also have this awful image in my head, and I always will have now. I mean, it adds to, all the other images. I have the images of how, precious he was when he was born, and he was still precious. He was still my baby. He just didn't look the same. Just really hard. Not prepared for it. My middle son was amazing. He just wanted to see him. He had things he wanted to say. I didn't realise until all this, so I'm going to move this again, how much we think alike, me and him. So I understood why he felt the need to see his baby brother. He saw my mum as well. So the lighting's really, really bad on here. I'm so sorry. So he stayed with us for a little while at the Chapel of Rest. My husband then walked him off to the bus stop to go to school. The other two had gone to school. And my oldest son is autistic and really couldn't have processed it. He's still struggling to process all of this as it is. He saw my mum and found that very, very hard. So we didn't even give him the option this time, and he's been fine with that. And the youngest is only 10, so I didn't think it was right. So anyway, hubby saw him off to the bus stop and came back and sat with me in the Chapel of Rest with Bailey for, another half hour to 40 minutes, I think. And, I knew I was coming to see him again later on in the day because my dad wanted to come back with me and see him in the afternoon. So, hubby sort of said his goodbyes, bless him, and that nearly broke my heart. He leaned over him as we were going and was just looking at him again just before we went, and he said, I'm never going to get to play with him, am I? Like I do the boys. Daddy won't get to play with you, he said. And we'd sat there, we'd read, I got him to write him a letter, and he did that, and I read that to Bailey. I read my letter to Bailey. I read his brother's letters. I read him a poem that I'd written, and I'd written it especially sort of for him and for the funeral and everything. I read that to him. I put a copy of that and all the letters in his bed with him. I also printed off the words to the song I had played. I was planning to play for the funeral, and put those in with him. He had a teddy bear from us and a teddy bear from his brothers, and a special blanket. There was a website that I found called cheekychums.co.uk, and they specially made, I'm sure there's other companies, but I'm just wanting to name check them while I'm talking. They specially make clothes and blankets and little teddies and stuff for babies, 16 to 20 odd weeks in pregnancy. So I ordered a little blanket with an elephant because I have a bit of an elephant obsession for him. And I was so glad, because he just looked awful just laying there on the sheet when we went there. By the time we left, he was all wrapped up in a proper bed. So anyway, we went off. Hubby and I went for a coffee before he went to work. He dropped me at home because he didn't want to leave me on my own with Bailey how he was. And then obviously my dad came. I took my dad back up there to see him, and that was emotional. Sitting in there with my dad and Bailey was a moment I won't ever forget. And we both sort of spoke to him, held him in his bed or whatever. And as we, I packed him all up again, put the top on, and it was tearing my heart out to leave again. The lady, I don't know what you call her, she wasn't the funeral director, but she works in the main office. One of the most amazing people, said to me, "I'm so sorry, I didn't think of this." She said, she kept apologising. I thought, "Oh God, what haven't you thought of?" Mainly I thought, what haven't I thought of? Because I've had to plan everything, and I panicked that it's me that's forgot things. My sort of autopilot state I've been in. And she said, "Would you like to take him home for the night? Have him home with you?" And as soon as she said it, it was the most natural thing. I know that everyone feels this differently, does things differently. It was the most natural thing. Of course I want him home. So I rang hubby. I thought, I can't just take Bailey home and just say, hey, hubby, you're walking home from work, look who's here. I wanted to make sure he was okay too. I know I've pushed with everything, the funeral and everything's all me. And hubby said as soon as he heard my voice, that even if he hadn't wanted him home, he couldn't have said no, because he heard me sounding upbeat in a way I haven't been in weeks. Funnily enough. So he said to me, how are you going to take him home from there? I don't have a car. I said, I don't know, bus I suppose. Stupid, not thinking. My dad then said, obviously, I'll get us a cab sort of thing. So me and my dad went and had lunch so I could calm down a bit. Came back, got Bailey, and the woman, bless her, she put his bed into a little box and had put 2 candles on top of it. So we could take him home in that. We got him home literally just in time for I to go up to school to collect my youngest. So we put Bailey, centre stage on the table over here. And it was weird, my dad, has been coming up with me every day to collect my youngest. He's been here every day. I felt funny leaving a baby. I said, I'm leaving my baby in the house on his own. Like, bonkers instincts are strange things. So we, just about managed to do that. Came home, told my youngest on the way home, Bailey's at the house, and he was thrilled. I wasn't sure how he'd be. Got a bit emotional later on, but he was okay. My oldest didn't cope so well when he first came in. He got quite upset, and I felt awful. I sort of said to my dad, am I being really selfish? Should I take him back there? They said that, if I changed my mind, I could bring him back to the chapel of rest. He'd stay there. And my mother said, no, you need to do this. It's the only thing you can do, for Bailey. The kids will calm down, and they did. The kids were thrilled by the end of the evening that he was there. They sat next to him at the table. They spoke to him. I had a candle lit all night next to him until I went to bed. And then when I went to bed, I took him up to our bedroom and put him where his cot would have been. So I had that. And silly things, we had him on the bed with, in his bed, on our bed for a while, and we were trying to tell him stories and nursery rhymes, silly little moments. So, that was it into the morning. There's ever been a morning I haven't wanted to come, it's that one. Took him back downstairs, centre stage again, lit the candle again, because it just seemed right. I've lit a candle every night since, and I'm going to keep doing that for a bit longer. I'll get on to how long I'm going to do that for in a minute. I'm sorry, the video's gone on a bit, but I might possibly break that down into another one, I don't know. But anyway, the day of the funeral, it's Bailey centre stage again with his candle, and then the lady, a friend of mine is a florist, and we just wanted flowers from us. So we got him, actually I don't know if I've got a picture here, sorry, I'm really unorganised when I do these things. We got him a rainbow made out of flowers, which is what we've always referred to him as, our little rainbow. So I'm just trying to find the photo of that to show you, because that's got to be seen. Okay, can I put really bad lighting? There we go. That's his little rainbow. My rainbow's rainbow. And that was put on the table in front of him as well. We wrote out the message cards that you put on them. So everyone that came, when we only had 11 of us, we had me, my husband, our 3 boys. So that's 5. My dad, my brother, my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law, and 2. Sorry, I don't know why it's freezing. So they all came, to the house. My dad sort of said hello to Bailey again, like I said, night to the night before. My friend sort of said hello, touched his casket, and that was it. Not in-laws. Oh, they read the cards, sorry, they read the cards on the flowers. So then we were leaving straight from here with Bailey. He was coming in our car, and my in-laws, for everyone else had left. So we drove to, I think that's everything that happened that morning, we then drove to the crematorium, same one my mum had been in a month to the day. And the funeral director met us there, because obviously we were going in a private car rather than the funeral car. And he led us right from the car park right up to the chapel door, as if, not as if it was a hearse, very, very respectful, in full funeral director uniform, And we were waiting out there, and the vicar met us. We had the same vicar that blessed Bailey when he was born in hospital, which was perfect. felt like a lifetime between arriving and being told, the chapel was ready and we could walk in. So I carried him. Happy sort of held on to me, one hand on the casket. And I got halfway along I don't want to call it an aisle because it's not a wedding, but that's the walkway bit. And the song I'd chosen didn't start playing. And I sort of panicked. I froze. I said, I'm not walking in here. This song means everything. I'm trying to find that for you as well, sorry. The song means everything and it's not being played. I'm not having this. This is the song. This is Precious Child by Karen Taylor Good. It's the most heartbreaking word, so I won't play the whole thing because I won't get through this. This was played as we carried him in.
In my dreams, you are alive and well, precious child, precious child.
I'm going to have to stop it in a minute because I won't get through much of this.
I see you clear.
Sorry, I'm going to have to stop it. Please look it up on YouTube. It's the most amazing song. So this was played, and the vicar, me and my husband carried him right to I don't know what the table at the front's called, sorry. Placed him on there together, kissed him, and said goodnight because I decided I can't say goodbye. I can't do it. So I haven't said goodbye to him, I've said goodnight. And then went and sat down in the pews with our 3 boys and everyone else behind us. And the vicar just let the song play, so everyone could sit there and hear it. That was hard. He said some lovely prayers. We sang Amazing Grace, which was chosen by my middle son because the instrumental version was played as my mum was carried in on her day, a month before. Like I say, did some prayers. The boys then read out my poem, Rainbow, which I'm so proud of them for. My youngest stood up with them. He couldn't speak. He just couldn't face it, but he stood with them. The vicar did loads more prayers for all of us, and it came up to the committal, which we'd agreed. At my mum's, there was nothing. There was no curtains. There was, she didn't move. We had to walk out and leave her sitting there, and I found that really hard. So when I was offered the option of something else with Bailey, we opted for the curtains to close around him before we leave, and I thought that would be easier. Not that it was. I think if I'd left the curtains open, I would have carried him and run out the door. But we had the curtains closed around him during Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Eva Cassidy. And that's the moment I think my husband's heart broke as well. He found that traumatic, as did I. We were both sitting there just crying our eyes out at that point. The boys were crying, and I don't know, mother-in-law might have been crying. I don't know, I didn't look behind me. I know my dad was probably crying. And then that was suddenly it. The vicar was starting to walk out, and I was going, we're meant to follow him now. I think we follow him. So, and he sort of gave me a little quiet nod, and we followed him out. And there was just the little sign you have, in memory of the late Bailey, and his little rainbow was there, and it was the only flowers, like I said, we had, and it seemed perfect. So we stood there for a little while with the vicar as well, and then thanked him as he left. We then walked everyone round they have a little baby's memorial garden, which is where we're going to have a plaque on these little mushrooms, they call them toadstools, for Bailey when it's put in. We've ordered it, so we showed everyone that. And then the next door little garden to it is where my mum's rose bush will be when her plaque's ready, so we showed everyone that as well. One of my friends had to leave for work, so she went at that point. We then took everyone else off to a local restaurant, bought a meal for everyone. I got everyone to raise a glass of Bailey because no one else was doing it. And that was a really hard, emotional thing for my dad. My dad got quite upset, which I knew he would, and I spent a lot of that day worrying about him, which is ongoing. Then sort of that was it. So that was last Friday, which I've just noticed I'm nearly on 20 minutes for this thing. So I will leave it there. I'll probably do another one to explain about updates on hospital and stuff, because that needs its own video. But, yep, and I've heard yesterday when I contacted the funeral directors that Bailey's ashes are ready, so I'm waiting for that call any time today. But I can go and collect whatever ashes there are. Another trauma. But, thank you, and I will post another video, like I say. I'll do another one in a minute about everything else. Thank you for your interest. And just actually as a favour, if anyone, I firmly believe Bailey comes to me through rainbows. I know it probably sounds daft or whatever, it's what I believe. So if anyone sees any, I really would love some pictures of rainbows. Either, I don't know, post them somehow on here, or my however you can do it. I don't know if anyone's linked to my Facebook or whatever. I don't link the two, I don't think. But thank you. And if anyone has anything they want to donate to Bailey's charity in aid of Sands, that would be great too. Thank you. Bye for now.